Dan O'Connell or James Ellison. I did not kill them.
During questioning, Father Ryan Erickson told detectives,
all I know is I may have overheard that somewhere in some kind of chit-chat, and that's why I brought it up when you asked me.
The detective paused, then replied,
because if it's true or if it's not true, for what you're telling us about the scene, how much of that information was given out to the media?
And then came the cut.
You knew that he was underage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yet you still provided alcohol to him.
That single moment punctured the calm. This is source monitoring theory in motion. The lie exposed not by anger, but by misplaced confidence. He claimed to have heard it somewhere, but only the killer could have known.
It's been 25 years since we had a homicide. This was something totally new to us.
But the relevant question is who this priest is and what happened in this interrogation room that the priest took his life just hours after this questioning.
The dispatcher said that there was a shooting at the O'Connell funeral home.
Guys, I'm trying to create documentary-style interrogation video, so your review about my content will mean a lot to me.
It's been 25 years since we had a homicide. This was something totally new to us. We weren't expecting it.
But things took a sharp turn when police received a 911 call on February 5th, 2002.
I'll never forget the 911 call. It came in at about 1:40 p.m. and the dispatcher said that there was a shooting at the O'Connell funeral home.
When police arrived at scene, they saw something gruesome, something they had not witnessed in last quarter of the century.
There was a clear bullet hole on the right side of his temple. Next to him is an unknown person, and I can just see the blood pouring out of his head. Just the worst thing I've ever seen.
A shocking double homicide.
It'd been 25 years since we had a homicide. This was something totally new to us. We weren't expecting it.
There were two bodies, one of Daniel O'Connell, a respected funeral director, and the second one was of his intern, James Ellison. There were no signs of forced entry or robbery, suggesting the killer was someone they knew.
But the office was basically undisturbed. The landline was still in the cradle. There was nothing that appeared out of place in there. No signs of a struggle. And James clearly had his wallet in his left pocket. It was in plain view. So in my mind, I'm thinking, this is something far beyond a robbery gone bad.
The town mourned, and the case went cold for nearly 3 years. Investigators later turned their focus to Father Ryan Erickson, a local priest whose behavior and knowledge of unreleased crime details drew suspicion. As layers of deception and misconduct unfolded, a darker picture emerged, one where faith, guilt, and fear intertwined under the gray Wisconsin sky. So, the cops brought him for interrogation, but something far darker than you expect unveiled on that particular day. Let's look into the psychological aspects of the interrogation.
In the case of a double murder, you have to do everything twice. There are 2 bodies, there are 2 autopsies, there are 2 victimology workups. It increases everything twofold.
Have you ever had any contact with a child?
No.
A juvenile?
No.
Have you, I guess, in your mind, ever, now that you can reflect back, you know that this is wrong, okay? This is out in the open, inappropriately touched a child on their private parts?
No.
Another man?
No.
You ever touched another man's penis?
No.
Do you recall prior to the homicides, when was the last time that you saw Dan?
Would have been a week. I believe it was a week prior in which I went to, we went to bury someone. So about a week before that happened. I think it was a Wednesday, but I could be wrong.
A week before?
A week before he passed, before somebody shot him out.
Okay.
So I think it was a Wednesday or a Tuesday beforehand.
Do you recall any conversation you had with Dan then?
The only conversation we had was he wanted me to come out and bless his house and wanted to go to confession. And I said that would be absolutely able to be done. So, okay. But we never made it to the confession or the house blessing.
And you know where Dan lived?
Not until the day that I was brought out there.
Detectives begin by cloaking Ryan's contact with Dan in pastoral duties, such as house blessings and confession. This soft framing employs pragmatic implication theory, Casson and McNall, 1991, which holds that implying moral or routine context lowers perceived threat.
As as unlikely, as unfathomable as it would seem that a small town housewife could be capable of carrying out this type of brutal crime, you have to start with the significant other.
Going back to Tuesday, February 5th, 2002. Prior to this, when Sean and I came up to visit with you, do you recall that day of February 5th, 2002?
I recall the day. Oh yeah. Parts of it, like, as we went through it, I was trying to keep bringing stuff to my mind, but
Okay. From what you remember, can you kind of run through us again with what you did that day? Do you remember who did you speak with?
oh, Sister Gemma and all the sisters came down. In fact, it must have been about 4:30 or so. I think one of them had just got back from Walmart or something, because she wasn't in her habit, which kind of shocked me a little bit.
Okay. How'd you know she got back from Walmart?
I believe she told me she was at Walmart.
Okay. How long did you visit with the sisters?
Oh, maybe 15 minutes at most.
Okay. Then you left where the Carmelite sisters are.
Yep.
That's located at the top of the 3rd Street Hill?
Yep.
Okay. Where did you go?
I would have guessed that I went down home to the place to eat, down to the rectory.
For supper?
For supper, yeah.
Did you have supper with anybody that night?
Father Peter was gone, so it would have been just me there, and I'm not sure if Cammie was there when I got there or if she wasn't there when I got there. Sometimes she'd be there and she'd serve the food, and sometimes she wouldn't be there, and then I just have to serve myself, but I'm not real sure if she was there or not.
Okay. And Cammie?
Cammie is the housekeeper.
Okay. What's Cammie's last name?
Westerdahl.
And it's approximately, do you ever leave the house again?
Oh, sure. There might be a meeting or something going on that I have to take care of. So
That night, did you leave?
I wouldn't be able to tell you if I did or not. I would guess I probably went back up to the parish because I would have to lock it up. So I would at least have to go up there to lock the parish up.
Investigators instruct Erickson to recount his day chronologically and then repeat it again. This tactic exploits commitment and consistency theory, Cialdini, 1984, which states that once people commit to a version, they feel psychological pressure to remain consistent.
Everyone knows that the first person you think of is the spouse. That's who did it. And so I knew that I was number one suspect.
I had the funeral. No, I didn't have a funeral. There was no funeral that day. So I would have had the mass that day. Yeah, I would have been the one that had the mass that day.
Okay.
And then would have been in the office, probably talking to different people who just stopped by. Would have gone down possibly to the school and been with the kids for lunch. I don't think I would have gone to any classrooms. I usually mark that on my day planner, and I don't remember that being in there.
What time was normally lunchtime for the kids?
I would say 11:30 until, I don't know, they got done with the recess about 12:30, somewhere in there. So I would have been down in that area with the kids. Most of the time, that's where I would have been found. Okay.
Is there like one shift for lunch, or is there two shifts
There's two
for lunch?
shifts. There's the little kids come in, and then the little kids are gone, and then the big kids come in. And then they all go out to the playground. And then I usually would go out to the playground and be with them on the playground.
For lunch, it starts at 11:30,
I believe 11:30, yeah.
and that's shift number one.
That would be shift number one.
Would you stay for both shifts?
Most of the time, yes.
And the second shift would be done approximately what time?
Usually they were going out the door by about 12:15 or so, somewhere in there. And then 12:30 was the end of recess. So I'd have about maybe 15 minutes out on the...
Play with the kids? And
Oh, yeah.
do
Yeah,
that
just
sort of
goof
thing?
around, yeah.
So you're usually done with the playground duties at what time?
About 12:30.
12:30ish?
Yeah,
Okay.
about 12:30. But the rectory's right there, so a lot of times I would go right over to the rectory to go to the bathroom. I had, here's again that shyness about me, and also the smarts. I never used the public toilet wherever I'm at for the fear of being accused of something, so I wouldn't go in there. I would go across the street to the rectory. So probably would have gone to the rectory then if I needed to. Then back into the car, up to the parish, let Ellen know that I would have been stepping out at some point or wherever I was going, go up to get this or that. Would have told her, I'm sure I would have told her that I was going to get tobacco or I was going out to do something, run an errand. Got in the car, went down Wisconsin Street, came up to the,
Okay, and you're talking about you're going southbound on Wisconsin Street.
towards the funeral home.
The focus on the 12:33 to 1 p.m. gap pushes Erickson to reconstruct non-experienced details. This leverages cognitive load theory, Sweller, 1988, which shows that lying demands greater working memory effort than truth-telling.
I racked my brains because nobody disliked him.
I heard rumors that somebody was looking for some type of stuff, formaldehyde, and then I heard that wasn't taken. But that's primarily what I've heard. I heard that he was shot at his desk, and James, I heard, was shot in a doorway.
Do you recall where you heard this from?
I'm not exactly positive. No.
Who do you think would have?
Well, at that time there was so much speculation going on. The weeks following, there was so much stuff out there. Just media stuff, also the office talk, constantly some new thing that they had heard from somebody somewhere. So it could have been office talk. It could have been from the media. I'm not sure.
When you were asked to go out to Jenny's house and talk to Jenny, you're going out there to locate Jenny?
Yeah.
And her children?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know where Tom and Janet were at the time?
I think they were out of town. But I recall wondering if they were going to be there or kind of looking for them, because I would have felt a lot safer with them, being that they were older and they would have been. In my book, I'm friendlier with that group of people than I am the younger group of people, because I seem to be more old-fashioned. So I kind of fit better with the older people. But I can't remember if they were in town, out of town. I'm not positive.
Do you recall anything about their yearly trip?
Well, I know they took a trip somewhere, but I didn't know where or when that trip takes place.
Did you have any idea if it took place in the summertime or the wintertime?
If I had to guess, I would say it was the wintertime, and I would say that it was I think it was that time. I think they were out of town too, but I might be getting that mixed up with Father Peter. But I do remember looking for them, thinking they're going to be there. So, I don't know.
Okay. We've asked you this before. Do you know who killed Dan O'Connell and James Ellison?
I have no idea.
If you knew, would you tell us?
If I knew, and it was outside the sacrament of reconciliation, I would tell you.
Moral hypotheticals. If you did it, would you tell us? Prime self-disclosure. This leverages self-perception theory, Boehm, 1972, which holds that people infer their own attitudes by observing their behavior.
We know that Mike stayed at the funeral home from 11:30 until the time he was notified of the shooting.
Okay, so you continue southbound on 11th Street.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I see that there's all kinds of vehicles up there, emergency vehicles. So I go off a different direction because you can't get through there, and I go to the tobacco shop.
Okay, and the emergency vehicles?
Just flashing lights, that's what I remember. So whether there was cop cars or whether it was fire trucks or what, I'm not sure. I'm sure there was cop cars there, and I'm sure there were an ambulance. And then I went off a different direction and went to the tobacco shop. Then from the tobacco shop, I went back to the parish, and then I talked to Ellen.
Okay.
And then from
a
Ellen,
different direction. Do you recall, Ryan, which way did you go, left or right?
I don't recall which direction I went in. I don't know if I went left or right. I'm not positive. But I know that I ended up at the tobacco shop.
How about when you left the tobacco shop?
Went down up to Carmichael and down Vine Street so that I could go to the parish.
So you went northbound on Carmichael,
Mm-hmm.
and then would have been westbound on Vine Street.
Yeah.
And there's a couple different entrances, I think, into the church. Isn't there one off from Vine Street? There's one off from Wisconsin Street?
I always use the one from Vine.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the one I use coming in, because I would park my car underneath the canopy. And so then when I would leave, I would go down through the Wisconsin exit.
But even when you came up from the rectory,
if I came up from the rectory, then I would take the Wisconsin exit. And then I'd zip around underneath but anytime I was coming from like Walmart or any of those kind of places, I always came back using Carmichael and By. That was my routine.
When detectives ask about his travel path, streets, landmarks, officer positions, they deliberately withhold known facts. This embodies the strategic use of evidence, SUE, Model, Granhag, and Hartwig, 2008, where investigators seek spontaneous contradictions before confrontation.
We find a calendar in the office. And what was unique about it was there was a appointment at 1 o'clock that Dan had, for whatever reason, bumped back to 2 o'clock.
And nobody came to me saying they killed James Ellison or Dan O'Connell.
Getting back to some of the things that we talked about in your recollection of that day, there's some discrepancies in what we've heard both times. Is it possible that you were at the Carmelite home for an hour to 2 hours on that day?
I don't believe so. No. If I remember correctly, I came in and I wasn't there more than, I want to say 15 minutes, but I thought I'd be, 30 minutes, 30, 15, something like that. It wasn't, I don't think it was very long. I certainly didn't celebrate any mass or anything like that with them. It was just a quick prayer. So.
And your travel to the tobacco shop was for what?
Tobacco. To get pipe tobacco or a cigar, depending on what I was smoking at the time.
Okay.
Tonight you had mentioned something different than you had mentioned when we came up to visit you in Hurley.
What was that?
You had told us when we talked to you up there, you were going there strictly for a cigar.
Well, either one. It depends on what I'm smoking at the time. I smoke both things, so I know it was tobacco. I was going up there for something.
Okay. Do you recall would it have been over your lunch hour?
It would have been right after. Yeah, it probably would have been in that lunch hour time. Right after. If I was down with the kids, it would have been right after that time.
But you made another stop prior to that.
Stop.
Did you go back to the church?
I would have come up and said to Ellen that I was going to be gone or I'd be back shortly or whatever. And then would have gone up and to the tobacco shop and then come back. And that's when I saw Ellen.
Did she say that anybody had called up to the church looking for a priest?
I thought that's what I remember her saying, that somebody had called looking for a priest. And I think, I'm almost sure she said that DeBruzzi was going to go out, or she tried calling me or tried calling DeBruzzi. And so.
At that point, if you didn't know, Ryan, if a priest had gone up there or not, why didn't you go?
I think that's when I think I did go up there, but I can't recall. I really can't.
Revisiting inconsistencies, who drove, route direction, officer sightings, creates internal tension. This is guided by cognitive dissonance theory, Festinger, 1957, which explains that holding conflicting statements motivates self-correction to restore harmony.
Then I heard rumors too. Again, these are rumors. You go to the bowling alley, you hear lots of rumors from people, especially when they're drinking a little bit. And, you hear things like, well, yeah, their marriage was rotten.
I know that I went up there, and I know that it was up there a number of times, and I know that I saw, or I think I saw Father DeBruzzi up there. Or somebody told me he was there, one of the two. And that's when I thought, well, if DeBruzzi's there, DeBruzzi's there. He's up at the funeral home. And when I had gone up again to look, that's when I was told to keep moving.
When we were up to visit in Hurley, you had mentioned, and this is a pretty significant thing, but you had mentioned what you heard about number of shots, placement of shots. Do you remember saying that?
I don't remember saying anything about placements of shots or anything.
I mean, as far as where on the bodies, you had indicated to me.
Well, I thought I had said that maybe one shot or something, but I wasn't sure of how many shots or even where the placement of the shots would be.
You don't recall saying that, or you didn't say it?
Well, I don't think I said anything about it. I think I remember you asking the question, and I said, well, I wasn't exactly sure, but yeah, I'm not sure how I answered.
Do you know where they were shot?
Where they were shot? No.
On the body?
No, I don't.
Do you know what part of the funeral home they were shot in?
I thought I had heard by his desk and in some doorway.
Okay. In his desk, meaning Dan?
Yeah, at his desk,
Okay.
and then James in a doorway.
Do you know where you would have heard that from?
No, I don't.
Do you know what kind of caliber of weapon it was?
I know.
What kind of caliber?
I don't know. That I don't know.
If we tell you that there's people that have come forward since our
Mhm.
conversation, you know that we're going to go back and talk to people,
Mhm.
that they said that they saw you coming back to the church northbound on Wisconsin Street. Can you explain that to us?
No, I can't.
When Erickson references wound placement and caliber, details never released publicly, detectives stress their confidentiality. This taps the source monitoring framework, Johnson, Hashtrowdy, and Lindsay, 1993, which finds that true memories contain contextual tags of where and how information was learned.
I could have come back that direction. Like I told you guys, I wasn't sure as to what directions I was taking. And so when I was sitting there talking with you, I'm trying to come up with the best plan in my mind of where was I going and what was I doing. But maybe I came back on that road. I really don't know.
But you would have went by the funeral home again.
I really don't remember. I don't know if that's the way I came home. For me, it would have I would take Carmichael
But
to
you
Vine.
specifically told us when you were done with the tobacco shop that you went on eastbound on Cooley to Carmichael to Vine Street.
Because that's
And
what
now
I
that
would,
may have changed.
well, that's because that's my normal route. That's the route I would normally take. I told you I wasn't sure about which direction I came. And I could have come back that direction.
What did you see when you went by the funeral home?
All I remember seeing is flashing lights. That's what I remember seeing.
After you left the tobacco shop and went by the funeral home, what did you see?
I would guess again, probably if I would say it would be flashing lights again,
And at that
or
point,
Marty Jensen. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't.
But you did have a conversation with Marty, correct?
I remember talking to Marty. Yes,
How long was that
it
conversation?
was very short. It was just to tell me that they didn't need me or something, and I could be moving along.
And you know Marty Jensen personally?
I know him, well, personally in the sense that
I mean, if he walked in here, you'd know
I know him.
that
Oh
was
yeah.
Marty Jensen.
Oh sure, yeah.
And he would know that you were Father
Yes,
Ryan Erickson,
yes, he-
correct?
Yeah.
Can you explain why he doesn't recall seeing you there at all?
I don't know, but I saw him.
But you
I
talked
saw-
to him.
I know I did. Yes.
Okay, and he knows you personally.
Yes.
And you were by Father DeBruzzi at one time?
I think I was over. Again, I don't know if I was by Druzy or not. I don't.
Do you know the direction? If I was to tell you on the north side of the funeral home, west side, east side, south side, would it be safe to say that Summer Street is on the north side of the funeral home? Do you know what direction the north is? Just so that we know.
Yeah. Well, I know where north is. Yeah.
Okay.
The Jensen Contact Challenge, where Erickson claims an officer interaction the officer denies, functions as a reality monitoring probe. Johnson and Ray, 1981. Genuine episodic memories include perceptual markers like sound, spatial orientation, and emotion.
when,
Well,
you
forget
turn,
it.
when you turn it back on, did you have any messages?
I don't recall any messages, but I might have.
When you draw on a map, everything's going to be explained on there. If you have any questions about the directions on there. See, with some of these, when we talked to you the first time, for now on some of the inconsistencies, that becomes kind of problematic for us.
No, I understand
and
that.
we're trying
yeah.
to
understand
resolve that.
No, I understand that.
Okay. This is a sketch of the area. This would be EP Rock School over here. Would I be safe to say that? EP Rock? You know where the Rock School is, the elementary school? And right here on the, well, it'd be over here actually.
Mhm.
Over here. This is actually the, let's call this the dentist office. Kel Dental.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right here, there's a building. Okay, you know where Summer Street is, correct?
Okay.
And this is Green Street.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't go through here. And right here's the funeral home. Initially, you came down. This is 11th.
Mm-hmm.
and you came down 11th Street, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it was blocked off?
Not there. I think it was blocked off up here. There was something going on right up in here.
Right
And
up
whether
in
it was blocked off or I couldn't get through because somebody told me I couldn't, I didn't come through. At least I don't remember coming through.
Now you understand this picture.
Yeah.
You
I
understand that this was the entrance
Sure.
to the funeral home.
Yeah. And then there's some type of, this is where that alley is, or that,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah,
And-
there's
and that's
there's
where
an
there
apartment
was-
building over there.
Yeah.
There's
And
an
at one
apartment.
point during the day, there was all kinds of cars out here.
Correct.
And I think that's when I came across Officer Jensen,
Out here?
in which he said, yeah, he was over here, and he said that, no, I should keep moving along, that it was a crime scene. Couldn't go in or anything.
Were you in your car then?
I can't remember if I was in my car, if I got out of the car to talk to him. I think I was inside the car.
But you diverted from 11th Street onto Summer Street.
Well,
Or did you go back?
I'm not sure.
After contradictions, detectives go silent. This calculated quiet uses aversive arousal theory, Zillman, 1971, which posits that unfilled pauses create emotional discomfort.
What's your normal route was from the rectory to the tobacco shop?
If I usually did that, I would take the highway up to Walmart exit there,
In the highway, meaning
meaning 94. And then sometimes I would come up. See,
if you're at the church.
If I was
and
at
you're
the
going to
church,
tobacco shop,
then
which
I would
way?
come down this direction.
And here you're pointing to 11th Street.
11th Street. Come down 11th Street and then go up that way.
But on this day, when we're first up there, you specifically told us that you went eastbound on Cooley Road. We brought that up to you, and you had went for so far. I went up by Target.
I'm almost positive that would have been the direction I was in. But if somebody saw me go the other direction, then maybe I went that direction. I'm not sure. I can see going down there just because I do tend to be a nosy person. I could have gone that direction. I don't recall.
You knew what was going on then.
No, I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is there was all kinds of emergency vehicles. So I wanted to know what was going on. If I went down that way.
In the course of this investigation, never once has anybody from the Hudson Police Department ever mentioned where the bodies were, positions, etc. Nor in the course of this investigation through 1,900 and some people has anybody ever brought up a speculation, a probability, a possibility, or anything like that as far as where the bodies were. Nor has anybody told us how many times they were shot or where they were shot. If that hasn't been brought up in 1,900 and some interviews, and out of the course of 5 people in our department that knew exactly that, and not even he knows where that was, why do you know that?
I don't know why I know that.
Or why are you giving us information that this is what you heard?
Well, this is what I had heard. You ask me a question, I tell you the answer. So if I overheard that and I didn't tell you, then I'd be lying to you. So I tell you what I hear in the sense that if I heard these things, where it was, I'm not sure, or if it was just idle chit chat or what it was, that's all I'm telling you.
When detectives cite 900 plus interviews and insist no one else knew those facts, they invoke social proof theory, Cialdini, 2001. Humans gauge credibility by peer consensus. If no one else shares his knowledge, his rumored defense collapses.
Is there anything that we've discussed today or the last time we talked to you that you want to change? Your story.
The only thing I can tell you is I'm not sure about all the events that took place on that day. I'm trying my best to explain to you what I did or where I was. I know I didn't kill him. I know that. From that, the facts are somewhat blurry to me. Where I was, where I was going. And that's as much as I can do.
And some of these things, that's what we're having a problem with. We want to be able to clear you. We can't.
Sure. What do you mean you can't? Did you take my guns?
We're going over some things with you and to help go through all these events, okay, of what happened.
Have you ever shown your weapons to anybody other than us?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Have you ever owned any other weapons other than the ones
Those
that
are the only ones I own.
ever?
Yep.
You never owned any other firearms, never traded any, never
Well,
bought any?
Well, I had rifles and shotguns,
Okay.
and those, I gave a rifle to one kid when he turned 18, and but other than that,
Do you recall who that was? Okay. But you never owned any other firearms?
no.
Have you ever registered any of your firearms?
One or two of them are registered that I bought that were mine. The others were gifts from other people.
Okay.
So,
Of the weapons that you turned over to us, which ones had you purchased?
the 44 Red Hawk Ruger. I believe I purchased it. I think it's in my name. And the 9mm Browning. I think both of those should be in my name.
Those are in your name. If I were to tell you that we showed those weapons to somebody and they said, I've seen others, but I don't recognize these, what would your response be?
Well, I would say they're crazy.
They're crazy?
Because those are the ones that I own. Those are the ones I've always owned, and they've always been right in the rec tree where everybody can see them.
Even back in Hudson?
Back in Hudson. Yep.
Ladysmith?
Yep.
Hurley.
And Hurley.
After mentioning rumors about gun calibers and wound placement, detectives stay quiet. This silence triggers the illusion of transparency. Gilovich et al., 1998. The belief that one's sincerity is visible.
And you glide over significant issues, particularly for detailists like us, particularly for in a murder investigation, okay? You're not stupid. Having said that, then, your recall is not explainable, or your lack of recall is not explainable. Okay, it just isn't. Okay, and I think that's problematic. And I think that you need to chat with him a little more, and try and find some of those details of who, what, when, where, why, and how, and what you know and what you don't know. Okay, because I'm going to tell you what, in my eye, okay, you're not the only, but you're certainly not out of the frame. Okay, and I'm just telling you straight up. If I were going to tick off in my head, okay, things that they may have mentioned, may not have mentioned, what you may know, what I may know, all these other sorts of things, okay, you put yourself into a difficult position that's very difficult to support.
When detectives tell him he's gliding over significant issues, they directly puncture his moral self-image. This draws on impression management theory, Leary and Kowalski, 1990, which suggests people actively craft how others perceive them.
How about a polygraph?
They're the men.
How
Ask
about
them.
polygraph?
I'd take a polygraph.
Would you?
As long as you keep the right to those specific questions, perfectly fine.
Specific questions mean?
Well, I'm just saying, did you kill Dan O'Connell? We're not speculating on all kinds of other stuff. If you make it point blank clear, I'll take a polygraph.
Okay. Would you be willing to come down? Obviously, with the stuff that we have, and to help us out. I mean, That's what we're here for. That's what we're,
I would come down.
You would come down.
I'd make arrangements with the bishop. We'll make sure that we get things covered, and I'll come down.
Would you consent to a search of your residence?
Sure.
Do you own any property?
Do I own any property? No. Well, just the things that are in the house. The stuff that's in the house. The weapons are.
Do you
mine.
own any land?
No.
Do you own a cabin?
Nope.
Your parents own any land?
They own their house, but nothing more than that.
How much land do they own?
Just what the house sits on. I don't know, maybe an acre. Maybe 2. I don't know.
To get away from things, to think, where do you go?
Usually into the chapel by the good Lord. Just sit down and I sit and think and try to get things together in my mind there.
Do you have any regrets on anything you've done in your life? I mean, I'll be the first to tell you I've got a great cloud over my head. I know this guy.
Oh,
does.
I do.
No. Certainly there's regrets in my life.
Okay.
There's certain things that I did when I was younger that I am not proud of. But never murder. Never hurting somebody like that. No.
Encouraging Erickson to consent to a polygraph and home search applies foot in the door theory. Friedman and Fraser, 1966. Small acts of cooperation create internal pressure for consistency. Once he agrees, reversing course looks like deception.
What's the worst you've ever done to anybody?
Oh, when I was in high school, I would be bullyish, kind of push them around and let them know I was kind of in charge kind of thing. That's about
Were you ever abused as a child, sexually or physically, mentally?
No.
Have you ever done that to anybody?
No.
How old are you again?
31.
31.
You like Budweiser,
I do.
you said. Did you ever talk to anybody? Obviously, you back up. You said you're close with family.
Yep.
Okay. Did you talk with her today?
I did.
Okay. What time was that?
Oh, I don't know. Must have been. I would say it was about right after you called. I think it was right about that time.
Okay. What time was that?
Oh, maybe around between 9:30 and 10ish, right in there. At least it was then or it was after the funeral, but I think it was before the funeral.
We have a concern also with some things that. Do you have any idea why he would come to the Hudson Police Department and discuss something about you? Now, this is the time. You're in your garb. Why would he come to the Hudson Police Department to file a complaint against you? What was your relationship with him?
Friends. I helped him out with.
How close of friends were you with him?
Just friends.
Did you drink with him?
Yeah.
How old was he when you were giving him drinks?
I think he was about 18, and I think his mother was aware of it.
Was his mother with him when you gave him drinks?
No.
Where did you buy your alcohol when you were in Hudson?
Either at the place down by County Market there. No, not.
Spirit cellar?
Yeah, spirit cellar.
Do you recall the time you bought alcohol?
Okay. I could have bought some there, yeah.
How often did you have him drink with you?
I think maybe 3 or 4 times.
When detectives re-ask how many times he drank with the youth, 4 times at most, maybe more, they're testing whether his memory stays stable under pressure. This taps into fuzzy trace theory, Brainerd and Reyna, 1990, which suggests liars rely on vague gist rather than precise verbatim memory.
How often did he massage your back?
I would have those guys walk on my back lots of times. Or if I...
What was the special oil that you used?
Special oil?
Just some cream?
Probably if I had sunburn, sometimes I would have them put on like a lotion, Jergens lotion or something.
You'd have to remove your shirt.
Oh, yeah.
And
pull it up
and,
or something.
and where was this done?
That would have been done right down on the... Could be in the living space of the rectory right there by the... Well, it would be where my couch was, right where the big windows are.
But how do you get sunburn if you're always in your clerics?
That when I go out, like when I take the kids swimming and stuff, then I would go ahead and have my clerics off. That's what I mean. Sometimes I'm in it. Most of the time I'm in it. And then other times, depending on, what I'm doing. And being outside with the kids, swimming, I would take my shirt off because I go swimming.
What's Miss?
I'd say wine, beer.
Okay. Did that happen?
Yeah.
How often did that happen?
I would say no more than 4 times. Or
Who had the alcohol to feed him at?
I would say that it was wine. But it would be who?
Okay. The drinks. You ever asked for your permission to give him drinks? Just once. Just
one time. Yeah.
For permission. Then
No,
after
I
that,
don't.
she
I don't
didn't
know
ask.
his permission.
Okay.
I don't know if he asked either.
You knew that he was underage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yet you still provided alcohol to him at their house. They gave him alcohol. Wine. You knew he was underage then also, correct?
Yeah.
Did you ever intervene? Say, do not give him the alcohol?
No, I did not.
Why wouldn't you intervene as a priest to give an 18-year-old kid alcohol? People are looking up to you. People have to respect you. Is there any legal reason why you would allow that to happen?
No, it was dumb. It was foolish. I should not have. And
Detectives juxtapose Erickson's identity as a priest with his behavior, giving alcohol, intimate contact, blurred boundaries. This elicits conflict predicted by self-discrepancy theory, Higgins, 1987, which explains that tension arises when behavior deviates from one's ideal or ought self.
Talk to me laid on the bed together.
there was a time when we laid on the bed, we were talking about things of confession and trying to assure him that he wasn't as evil as he thought he was, or that his mother thought he was, and that was primarily it. I held him at one part as he was crying. I held him and said to him, that everything would be fine. Don't worry, God loves you, and reassured him about those things.
Anything else you want to add to that before I ask you about something else?
No, that's.
You told him it was okay to become aroused when he was with you.
I told him it was okay to be aroused because I wanted to get across to him that that's not sinful in itself. That's not sinful to be aroused. And too often what happens is they get caught up in this idea that that's sinful in and of itself. And I said, it's what you do when you're aroused. It's the things that you do.
What he told us, that he said he was supposed to lean against you so you knew that he was aroused and everything was okay. Why would you tell him that?
The only thing I was trying to get across to him was to tell him that arousal was not a bad thing, and that he shouldn't be ashamed of who he is, his sexuality, and that it was important to understand that it was what you did after those things. It's what you did with it versus just being that way or having them inclinations and things.
Okay, but what did you refer to him, or what did you mean when you told him to lean against you? Even though he had his back to you. You had your back to him, correct, when you told him that?
Oh, I don't, no, I will. If I was talking to him, I did not have my back to him. I would have been facing him.
Why would you tell him to lean against you, though, if he became aroused? I'm not saying, okay, that you're gay. I'm not saying that. What I am trying to figure out is why would you tell an 18-year-old kid when he gets a hard-on to lean against you so you know that he has a hard-on?
Because I wanted him to get past the shame, the idea that this is a bad thing, that we have to hide these kind of things.
Prolonged discussion of underage drinking and sexual boundaries induces emotional discomfort. This aligns with the effect infusion model, Forgas, 1995, where mood states bias cognitive processing.
Laying on a bed after he's been drinking, you're laying on a bed, he's laying on a bed. You didn't have on any clothes.
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay. Tell me about the clothes you were wearing.
I wear blue sweatpants and a white T-shirt.
Okay. When was the last time that you saw?
He went off to school, so that would have been the last time. Would have been maybe a 2 years.
Okay, I believe that you're being honest with us, and I appreciate that, Ryan. Okay, but I want to get this cleared up now.
Mm-hmm.
How many other kids, and I'm referring to kids as under 21 years old, have you provided alcohol? Because there's other complaints that are going to be starting to come in.
Yeah, I've allowed alcohol to. Well, their parents were all present for that, so.
Okay, what are their names?
But that was like wine and stuff at dinner, and.
How many kids? How many kids do they have?
They have 3.
How old? From what range to what range?
And I think he's a sophomore in college. And then I think.
How much alcohol did you provide to them?
Well, I didn't provide it. That they had it there. It was there.
Okay, where's there?
At their homes. And then I was there, and I said, would it be okay to have a drink? And it was okay with Mom and Dad. So the only ones that I would have provided alcohol for would have been.
Where did you provide the alcohol to?
Okay.
When was that?
Would have been just before he left for college, or maybe 2 years ago.
Detectives continually force Erickson to move from vague explanations to exact recollections. What time, which street, what he wore, who he was with. This shift from abstract moral talk to tangible sensory detail draws on construal-level theory, Trope and Lieberman, 2010, which posits that people think differently about near versus distant events.
How old was he?
I think he was 18 or 19.
Beer or wine?
I think it was a beer.
Father Peter know about this?
I don't know if he did or didn't. I don't know if he was there or not.
You know Father Peter pretty well, though, right?
Yeah.
What do you think he would say?
Well, he'd probably say that's not a good decision. That's not something to do.
He'd probably say, or he would say?
No, he would say.
He would say.
He would say, don't do that.
Did you ever give that up in confessions?
Oh, yeah.
Who else besides you named that you provided alcohol to? Let's get it out in the open right now so we can write this down.
Well, I'm trying to think.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Maybe.
And he was also at the rectory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What kind of alcohol did you provide to him? Did you ever take any of these that you mentioned so far to the liquor store with you?
I remember coming, but I don't think I took any of the others with me to the liquor store.
Okay. Who else?
That's all I can remember that I can't think of anyone else.
Okay. Why would you provide alcohol to somebody underage?
That's what when I grew up, that's the kind of thing we did. We had alcohol. It was okay to have that kind of thing. So I've never had that it's evil or bad kind of idea to it.
I'm talking legally.
Yeah, I know.
We have statutes.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
That. Yeah, I did wrong. Yeah.
Did you carry out for them? Carry out?
No, I didn't do that.
Was it always supervised? Is that what you're saying?
I was there, yeah.
The interview cycles between timelines, moral questions, and drinking details, revisiting each topic multiple times. This uses retrieval-induced forgetting, Anderson et al., 1994, where repeatedly recalling partial information suppresses related memories.
I didn't carry it out and give it to him, no.
But you carried it out, and they came to to the rectory.
At the rectory, yeah. But I never gave it away or anything like that.
Okay. Who liked to drink the most out of those guys you mentioned? Mm-hmm.
But that's all.
Okay. Who became the most intoxicated? A little bit too.
Yeah, but he never was intoxicated. Wine. Sometimes we do a little shot of Jägermeister or something like that.
Mm-hmm. All of them would do that?
No, not all.
Okay. Who would have the shots of Jägermeister? Okay. What is Jägermeister?
It's like a German liqueur.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
Ryan, who all knew that you were giving these kids alcohol?
Well, I'm sure mother knew that I was. Certainly because we were at their home. They knew, but I don't know about the other ones at all. His dad would know. But again, their family members knew and were present.
They were present?
Yeah.
So,
in their home.
Okay. Parents were present.
Present in the home.
The arousal talk that you gave to us,
Mm-hmm.
okay, was that something that you thought was a very important instruction to give?
What was important, this had been a few months of constantly...
Can I use a word for you? Was it grooming?
No.
Because we're grooming them?
No.
Okay. What would be a good word?
It was trying to explain to him that it was okay to be aroused, that it was not okay to use that arousal in a way that would be immoral. And so, you see, there's somewhat behind the eight ball here. It was his confessor.
When Erickson describes scenes vividly but actions vaguely, detectives highlight the imbalance. The Undeutsch hypothesis, Undeutsch, 1982, explains that truthful accounts contain sensory and contextual embedding around actions, not just scenery.
What should be the consequences of you for doing that, giving this alcohol to these kids? What should be the consequence?
Whatever the law has, I guess.
What do you think the law should be? Did you ever talk to anybody else, any adults, that were also would maybe give alcohol to underage persons?
No.
What do you think should happen to the person who killed Dan O'Connell and James Ellison?
I think they should be put away for a long time. For life.
Okay, what do you mean put away?
Locked up in the jail.
You don't know who killed Dan O'Connell?
No, I don't know who killed Dan.
Do you know why he was killed?
No, I don't know why he was killed.
Why was James Ellison killed?
I don't know.
Based on things that you've told us before, you're talking about the placement or where the bodies were and that type of thing. Do you think somebody just got in the way when somebody else wanted to shoot somebody else? Is that why there's two persons dead instead of one?
I don't know.
Because if it's true or if it's not true, for what you're telling us about the scene, not much of that information was given out to the media. None of that was broadcast.
This is the very first we've ever heard of it.
If you're given direct things, Ryan,
I don't know.
Why?
All I know is I may have overheard that somewhere in some kind of chit chat, and that's why I brought it up when you asked me.
Finally, detectives push him to describe the who, what, where, when, why, and how of each event. This reflects the cognitive interview principle of context reinstatement. Fisher and Geiselman, 1992, traditionally used to enhance genuine recall, but here inverted to stress test authenticity.
did you ever have to do any papers on murders and homicides?
Nope.
What was suicides?
Nope.
Do you believe now, if somebody was to kill themselves, suicide?
I believe that if the person knows that suicide is wrong and they commit it, I believe it's in God's hands. I believe it's merciful. Ultimately, what I believe is that they don't go to heaven. That's what I believe. But there are other factors that play into that, such as were they thinking in the right frame of mind. But just on the very basis of the suicide itself, I would say that it would be.
Are you gonna, besides the two folks that are with you this evening, are you gonna tell anybody else that the law enforcement talked to you
Should
tonight?
should I or shouldn't I?
December 7th. I'm asking you, are you gonna tell anybody?
I may tell my mother. I'll call the bishop.
What are you gonna tell the bishop?
Well, I'll just tell him that you questioned me on these different things. I'll immediately tell him that there was an accusation made against me because I got to do that. And
An accusation made about what?
well, the way you made it sounded like there's a sexual allegation made against me. If there's a sexual allegation made against me, I got to tell the bishop so that I can be removed from my position and go through all that crap. Which
Did anybody ever? Did we hear in this room?
that's what I was surmising.
Okay. Did you have the alcohol thing?
Well, that's what I mean. That alcohol
The
thing.
whole.
Yeah.
You'd have to contact the bishop over that.
If there was an accusation made, I have to tell the bishop.
What'll be the consequences of that?
Immediate removal from the parish.
Ever contact the police department?
As soon as he'd know that you knew, so he would then contact the police department too. Or he would have somebody up there contact the police department.
By emphasizing consequences like bishop removal and reputational ruin, investigators manipulate prospect theory, Kahneman and Tversky, 1979, which finds people are more motivated to avoid losses than seek gains.
Father John has on, that's a cleric. But this is a cassock, which a cleric can wear.
And what did the nuns wear?
Habit. I wear this underneath there, which is Our Lady of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and these are the medals, just different ones.
I had one of those for First Communion.
Oh, you did? That's where I had mine from. It wasn't until.
And I kept that thing for years, and I loved it.
Did you really?
Yep. I wore that thing through high school.
Oh,
Very
really?
rare. The only time I took it off was when I played sports.
That's the only time I took it
had
up
a cross that I wore in high school, except for sports.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us wear them. That's why I
Actually,
take them
you know
off.
what? When I was a freshman, early part of high school, growing up, I wanted to be a pastor.
Oh, really?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I really did. Now you may think differently, but no.
I know things change.
So, but that's
how he needs for that.
Oh.
I'm gonna confession. I don't know if he's got that much time.
Brother Ryan, we do appreciate it. We apologize for the inconvenience, but we have a job.
I understand.
We have to get this.
I really do understand. I hope you understand.
The thing is
That's right,
that make sure that when we talk to everybody, and there's nobody in this world that's going to understand how much time Sean and I and the different things that we have ever done on this case.
I understand.
We don't want to offend anybody, but yet we are still going to do our jobs. And if it does offend it, or somebody takes it offensive, too bad.
Too bad.
Right.
I tell you, I'm
And
nervous I'm nervous about being questioned. I think anybody is.
Sure.
But I'm upset.
Sure.
If there's a young man who thinks that I hurt him, that bothers me.
If you did, and if he thinks are two different things.
Okay, I didn't intend it.
I don't understand that how an accusation.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Finally, investigators notice when Erickson's answers dodge, over-explain, or under-supply detail. This taps into Grice's cooperative principle, Grice, 1975, where violations of conversational maxims, relevance, quantity, and clarity signal deception.
He advised that Ryan Erickson put a rope around his neck, tied it to the balcony, and jumped off and committed suicide.
In this interrogation, detectives methodically dismantled Father Ryan Erickson's credibility through timeline testing, contradiction loops, and psychological pressure rather than direct accusation. They secured key admissions, access to the scene, non-public knowledge of wounds and calibers, and boundary violations with minors that collectively undermined his denials. Legally, these statements establish probable cause, connecting him to both motive and means while demonstrating consciousness of guilt through selective memory and minimization. Though Erickson's death prevented prosecution, the interrogation's evidentiary value, his insider details, behavioral inconsistencies, and corroborated opportunity later formed the foundation for the judge's 2005 ruling attributing the O'Connell-Ellison murders to him.
He would have been guilty. And I was like, okay, now it's over. That was closure. I could shut that chapter finally in my life.
Father Ryan Erickson was never formally sentenced because the case against him never proceeded to trial. On December 19, 2004, Erickson died by suicide shortly after police questioned him about the 2002 murders of funeral director Daniel O'Connell and intern James Ellison. Nearly a year later, in October 2005, a Wisconsin judge conducted a John Doe hearing to review the evidence. The court concluded there was probable cause that Erickson had committed both murders, citing his possession of insider crime scene knowledge, inconsistent statements, and potential motive related to exposure of sexual misconduct. However, since Erickson was deceased, the state could not pursue prosecution or sentencing, and the case was formally closed. The ruling effectively served as a posthumous attribution of guilt, bringing legal closure to the investigation, but leaving no conviction or prison term on record. Thus, Erickson received no sentence, only a judicial finding of probable cause.